The nurse smiled at the young mother. "Your baby is healthy, no congenital defects, he's perfect." The only thing was his eyes. They were black. Not black like her son's eyes were filled with coal. They were black like polished onyx. And what was even more strange, they didn't blink. She reached out to stroke his cheek, but he flinched away, then turned his head and looked at her, really looked at her. She gasped, stumbling back. His eyes were pools of bottomless black ink staring back at her. Then, just as quickly, he looked away. She checked the tag on the bassinet. It read Lily. Not her name. Her name was Emma. How could this be? Hadn't she just given birth to her baby boy? She remembered the pain, the agonizing, soul-wrenching pain of childbirth. She remembered cradling her newborn son, his tiny body so new and perfect, his features still puffy and soft, his little chest rising and falling with each breath. She remembered the joy, the overwhelming, heart-bursting joy of motherhood. But now, when she looked down at the bassinet, there was a girl instead of a boy. A beautiful girl with dark, unruly hair and skin the color of alabaster. Her eyes were closed, but when Emma reached out to touch her, she opened them. Those bottomless black pools stared back at her accusingly. Emma recoiled as if burned. "What have they done?" she whispered, her voice hoarse. Suddenly the nurse from before appeared. "He's awake," she said, nodding towards the baby girl. Emma shook her head, unable to speak. "I found this in his room," the nurse said, holding up a pair of dark leather gloves. Emma felt a chill crawl up her spine. She knew those gloves. She had bought them for her husband, Mark, for Christmas. He always wore them while he worked in the garage. He loved working on cars. In fact, he was working on an old Cadillac in the garage right now. But how did these gloves end up in the baby's room? And why did the baby have black eyes that didn't blink? Emma didn't want to find out. She wanted to get as far away from that baby as possible. She turned to leave, but the nurse blocked her way. "You can't leave," she said, her voice low and dangerous. "You have to see him." Emma felt a prickle of fear on the back of her neck. "Why?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. The nurse leaned closer, her hot breath on Emma's ear. "Because," she hissed, "he's your son. You gave birth to him less than 24 hours ago." Emma stumbled back, horrified. Could it be? Had she really given birth to a demon child? What had Mark done? Had he been messing around with satanic stuff again? She vaguely remembered him coming home one night with a strange, musty odor clinging to him and a glint in his eye that had nothing to do with the Christmas tree lights. But it couldn't be. She had carried the baby for 9 months. She had felt him kick and move inside of her. She had talked to him, sung to him, read to him. How could he be a demon child? Then she looked into those fathomless black eyes and she believed. Suddenly Mark was kneeling before her, his face contorted with pain. "It wasn't me," he cried. "I swear it. I didn't do it. I didn't know." "Know what?" Emma whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Know that you were carrying a demon in your womb, Emma," Mark screamed. "I tried to warn you. I told you to get rid of that book, but you wouldn't. You said you had to finish reading it. You wanted to know what was in the last chapter. You never listened to me. Now our baby, our sweet baby boy, he's gone." Emma felt the world crumble around her. It was her fault. She had caused all of this. She remembered the book. It was an ancient grimoire, bound in human skin, filled with blood-soaked pages that detailed all manner of dark and forbidden magic. She had found it in the attic, hidden in a trunk along with Mark's father's things. She had started reading it out of morbid curiosity, but it was so horrible and vile that she should have thrown it back into the trunk and forgotten about it. But she couldn't. She had to know what happened in the last chapter. And then she started having dreams, dreams of a world turned upside down, of cities razed to ash, of the dead walking the earth. And in those dreams she heard a voice that beckoned her, promised her power beyond her wildest imaginings. It was a terrible, terrifying power, but she wanted it anyway. And so she continued reading. entranced, oblivious to the danger that lurked in the shadows, waiting to be unleashed. And now her baby was gone, taken by whatever creature lurked within the grimoire's final pages. Emma fell to her knees beside the bassinet, burying her face in the cold, hard surface. She cried out for her baby, for her son, for the child that had been born of darkness and had slipped away into the night. And in the silence that followed, she heard the echo of his voice. "Mother, we are one. We